Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. We caught up earlier today with Mark Chalmers, CEO of Energy Fuels, uranium producer with assets in the US. And if you want to hear our thoughts and opinions on that conversation and indeed the company itself and where it's going, you can catch that at cruxinvestor.com/club, where you can also find detailed company reports. There are commentaries from experts from around the world on a variety of companies and commodities. There are training videos. There are summaries of other interviews that we have done just to save you a little bit of time. And of course, there's a thriving community of investors sharing their thoughts and ideas with each other. And you can go and join them now at cruxinvestor.com/club. And of course, we'd love your feedback too. So do give us a like, leave your comments below. And if you want to see what we talked about, take a look in the description below. Mark Chalmers, how are you doing, sir?
Excellent, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, good to speak to you. We haven't spoken in a while. I kind of thought that we were entering a quiet period for uranium, but no, that's not happening.
No, there's no such thing as a quiet period of uranium. And, 2020 is 2020. So I'll leave it at that.
It's been a bizarre year. But look, I wanted to catch up with you because we haven't spoken for a while, obviously. It's always nice talking to you. But two, this US uranium reserve is rearing its head again in the press. I just wondered what you made of it.
Well, look, I think it's positive. I think there's some bipartisan support for the uranium reserve. And Matt, as you know, our company was really the main flag waver on that through the 232 and the nuclear fuel working group. So, I think it's, getting bipartisan support for the right reasons. And, it's put a little bit of buzz back into the stocks of uranium producers in the United States. So, I think it's the reality that the United States needs nuclear power to, combat emissions. And I think that's why the Democrats are coming on board with the initiative.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it in our weekly uranium show. The bipartisan nature of this is, always been something in the background, but to see something this positive, I mean, it's still not there yet. I mean, we need to say that, but signs are good. I mean, when do you think this will actually become something? Does it need the new administration, whichever it may be, to get in before this gets stamped?
Yeah, look, and I don't know. And I hate to speculate on it, but I think the realization is that the Biden administration is supportive of nuclear because again they realize they need it to reduce carbon emissions. So I think that it went into the budget and to have the bipartisan support in the Senate. I think it's just a significant step forward. So it does have a ways to go. But hopefully, it's a step in the right direction of both parties working together on something.
Wouldn't that be nice? But I think the signs are positive. I absolutely say. Well, look, I did want to ask you about that. I should say this. I don't think there's too much more to say. I'm just going to sit back and wait. But I did have two other things I want to talk to you about. Okay. You've paid down your debt. You've gone early on that one. Why have you chosen to pay it down before you needed to?
Well, we wanted to pay it off on our own terms. It was maturing at the end of the year. I think it was December 31st. And, we paid it off in two pieces. But again, cutting down the amount of interest that we're paying. I mean, when we had the full debt, it was like $1.3 million a year of interest. So the biggest thing is we wanted to do it under our own terms and timing. And, and again, we wanted to be a differentiator that Energy Fuels, with all the assets we have, are paid for. Okay. They're debt free. And, we've got, 3 licensed, proven production facilities in the United States, fully paid for. And that is a key differentiator, not just here in the United States, but with any of the uranium producers or wannabes in the world.
Right. I mean, it's very difficult for uranium producers at the moment because not too many people are selling anything. So I guess sitting on debt makes you nervous. And we've seen a few companies kind of had to raise capital to kind of pay the position off. I mean, where does that leave you at the moment with your cash reserves?
Well, we've got cash or working capital, about $45 million, which is quite healthy, particularly after paying off the debt. And that's a hallmark of Energy Fuels. We don't like to sail too close to the wind, and we'll continue to maintain a healthy cash balance. So again, substantial differentiator from many others.
Yeah. Okay. It's just, yeah, perhaps something we'll come back to another day because, we're sort of doing the analysis in the marketplace because we keep having this conversation about, not all boats will float, and we've spoken about that in the past. Are you seeing, we're seeing a lot of new entrants in the marketplace, which I think is interesting, but we're also seeing some of the existing companies perhaps struggling to, see the light at the end of the tunnel. So getting the timing right is going to be important. Having the ability to raise capital just to keep the lights on is going to be a real struggle for some. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, look at I think to just raise capital to keep the lights on, and some of these companies that don't have, constructed projects that are ready to go. I mean, I think that's a tough lift. I mean, we've got a lot of idle capacity that can come back on as the market improves. So, it's something that, in our case with, our constructed and proven facilities puts us at a huge advantage. I mean, if you got to go out and get the capital to build a project, you're going to add another 10, 15, maybe $20 a pound to the cost of producing uranium, and that's huge. That is huge. So that takes people another complete step out of ability to respond, not just the from a cash perspective and a cost perspective, but also a timing perspective. So, I think, the fundamentals are improving. Trade Tech said that there'd be a delta between new production and demand of around 70 million pounds in 2020. That's a lot. I mean, that's like 35% shortfall in new production. So, I think all this is starting to, become quite apparent in the marketplace and bodes for improved prices in time.
Yeah, I think 2021, certainly into 2021, is looking very, very interesting. But I'm more interested in the M&A component. You've said to me in the past you're not interested in M&A, but there are other people out there snaffling up deals which don't necessarily involve a whole lot of cash. Are you tempted at all?
Look, I never say never, but for the right opportunity, we'll look at it. But right now, we're asset rich, and asset rich is something we don't need to keep adding to that asset base at this point in time. We have more than enough assets to respond very quickly at very competitive pricing. And so, I don't want to take on assets that are negative cash flowing and add to a negative burn.
Okay, I want to talk about, just final question, because I know I just rang up to talk about the US Reserve, but I thought I'd take the opportunity. I want to talk about one of your assets, White Mesa. We saw a press release about you starting to process ore and create a concentrate. You're processing monazite. You're after uranium, but there's quite an exciting byproduct.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're making significant steps on that front. White Mesa is fully permitted to process uranium ores, and this monazite has uranium in it, so we can process the monazite for its uranium, and nice byproduct is rare earths. And Matt, I know I'm very excited about this because when you look at our company in White Mesa, the ability to produce uranium for clean nuclear power and also have the ability to get a byproduct of rare earths, which can help with electric cars and wind generators and whatnot. I mean, I think it's just incredibly remarkable. And I think it's something that, we're blessed to have that type of optionality out of that facility. So White Mesa is always surprising us on the upside.
Okay. And I know this is about the uranium, but if you don't mind, can I just talk about the rare earths? I know it's a byproduct, but these things typically are quite high margin things. So that's why people get excited about rare earths. And there's not too many mills that can process rare earths around the world. So
yeah, look.
Can you just, so if you don't mind, so in the context of the US, critical minerals list, in the context of what is happening with uranium in terms of it, again, being a sort of critical mineral out there, people like the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, are they getting interested in rare earths? So are you party to any of those conversations?
Yeah, look, look, and I think they've obviously become concerned about the dependency on China for rare earths and other critical materials. I think I've told you that what we're trying to do with White Mesa is the Chinese are currently processing monazite, CNNC, and recovering the uranium, and then the byproduct of the rare earths. That's what our goal is at White Mesa, and we're very, very interested in the uranium for obvious reasons, and also the byproduct of the rare earths. So, and I think that it's recognized around the world that monazite is the most favorable feed for rare earths out there when it comes to the ability to process that, the ease to process that, also the distributions for the magnetic elements like NdPr, and so it's just a perfect fit for White Mesa, and for all the right reasons. So watch the space. I've said publicly that we're looking at supply agreements for people who may want to use White Mesa as an outlet for processing, and we're also looking for supply agreements of people who may want to buy concentrate from us. So it's again a very unique space, but it's we're happy to process those uranium ores with the rare earths.
I bet. It's because it's fairly quiet. The uranium market's come fairly quiet. I know we've got great expectations for 2021, fantastic, but rare earths, I keep bringing it back to the US government. It's critical for them. Given that you're the mill which can do this in the US, has there been talk of creating a critical minerals hub around White Mesa? Where's the government in all these conversations?
Yeah, look, and I think the government knows that White Mesa is critical infrastructure. During the 232 and the Nuclear Fuel Working Group, they're actually extremely pleased to hear that we can also process the uranium-bearing rare earths, and so I think that the visibility of White Mesa as critical national infrastructure is just continuing to go up and up and up, and all for the right reasons. So, Matt, it's I think hopefully we're getting very close on the reserve uranium prices on their own, rare earths and some of these other initiatives, vanadium. So we've got a lot of fishing poles, lines in the water with our fishing poles. And we think the fish are starting to nibble, and we'll be biting hard pretty soon, hopefully in 2021.
Well, I agree with you, and I don't mean to keep pushing you here, but again, we have conversations every day of the week with commodity companies, but rare earth companies are getting a lot more. People are attracted to them because of these ecosystems being built up in China, being built up in Europe, and in the US. And I'm just wondering how a company like you engineers a position where you're part of that ecosystem. I get the mill must be critical to this.
Yeah. Well, I think the mill and also the team that we built up around the rare earth story, with Constantine Kyrianopoulos and Rocco Kelly and Jack Lifton, we've engaged and have relationships with some of the world leaders in the rare earth space. So they didn't just join us by accident. They joined us because they thought what we were doing had a real chance to go somewhere. And on top of that, there soon will be a listing of Mountain Pass MP Materials. That's a $1.5 billion listing. And Mountain Pass, many of the people that are working with us right now are former Mountain Pass employees with Molycorp. So I think that the buzz of how we're positioning ourselves with the mill, using the mill to recover the uranium and the byproduct, the rare earths, the team that we're building, and we continue to build with that team. That team is just the beginning. We have more people that are wanting to come join us because they believe that we've got some, very interesting plans in the future with the rare earths here in the United States, and we're able to do rare earth processing quicker, faster, with the uranium recovery than anybody else. And I think that's, that's an exciting space to be in.
It certainly is. Certainly is. So, can we expect any announcements on that front in terms of feed? You mentioned it there earlier. Is that something that's significantly advanced, or is that something that you hope to be doing in the near future?
Yeah, look, I'm hoping to have some good news flow on this area, in the coming month or two. But step at a time. Right now, I think the key thing is as we showed in the video. We've got to get people to believe that we can do the things that we say we're going to do. And I think, Matt, you're fully aware that when we say we're going to do something, we follow through. And that is also a differentiator of Energy Fuels. So, I think that the market is waking up to what the opportunities might be with the rare earths and our uranium production. Hopefully it'll continue to go that direction for us. But I'm hoping for a news flow, this year, but let's see how it unfolds.
Okay, no, I take your point. You do what you say. That's why we follow you. I think Cameco made a comment about it in last week's call where they talked about these hyper promoted uranium juniors, and I think Tim seemed a little bit irritated by some of the white noise and some of the stories happening out there.
Yeah. It's easy to talk about, but hard to do. And after 44 years or 45 years in the uranium business, I can tell people it's a lot harder to do than most people think. So, but that again, with our team and our track record, it's something we're comfortable with, very comfortable with, and we've done it for decades. So people don't have to worry about whether we can deliver what we say we're going to deliver.
Okay, Mark, appreciate your time. Thanks for picking up the call. It's much appreciated. Let us know if anything happens.
We'll keep in touch, Matt.